Hey everybody, this is Marcel, the Canadian journalist. Friday, was it November 22nd, I believe? Yes. And what was it, just yesterday, Putin retaliated for the USA, France, and Britain's long-range missiles that were not just given to Ukraine, but actually fired on Russia by the US personnel because they can't just give the weapons to Ukraine and let them use as they do because they can't operate them. So it's actual US personnel directly in the fight shooting long-range missiles at Russia. It's now a direct war, not a proxy war. Russia, who said you're crossing the thin red line, that is our nuclear doctrine. If a nuclear power such as USA is openly engaging in war on Russia, in Russia, with a non-nuclear power such as Ukraine. So it's a war through Ukraine, but it's a war of USA, NATO to Russia. They said that is crossing our nuclear doctrine, and that gives us the ability, as per our outline, that we can respond with nuclear response. So you have the neocon, Democrat, liberal, warmongering, military-industrial complex assholes who are putting everybody in the world at jeopardy for a nuclear war, for their own power-hungry money control system that they've been living with for so long, and they don't want to give up now that Trump's been elected. And in 2 months, Trump takes office and he's going to make all peace. He's already announced it. He's already discussed it. It's going to be a simple 1-2 process. But they got 2 months to destroy everything. It's just like the Liberals in Canada. They're on their way out, so they're trying to destroy Canada on their way out. And they're trying to create this war that then Trump can't even walk out of, because it's a direct war where American citizens and people are dead, which is what they believe they hope to do. American citizens dead to make the American people want to continue this war, and Trump will have a very difficult time to end it at that point. So here is Putin addressing his retaliation with his new super weapon, essentially a missile that travels at the speed of light that cannot be intercepted. There's no countermeasures. The NATO countermeasures can't stop the missile. And he just proved that. The missile shot and landed, no issues, with a non-nuclear warhead this time, as a demonstration that you cannot stop my missile. So the next step will be the Poland NATO base, etc., etc. Let's listen.
Determined based on the threats to the security of the Russian Federation. We believe that we have the right to use our weapons against military facilities of countries who allow their weapons to be used against ours. And in case of an escalation, we will act as decisively in a mirror fashion. The ruling elites of the countries are nurturing plans to use their military contingents against Russia should be warned. When choosing measures to be used in response, such as the use of systems that was tested recently in Ukraine, will certainly include warnings to civilians and to clear the zones that will be targeted. And we will certainly do this in a transparent fashion. And we do not have any fears that it will reduce the effectiveness of those systems, because there is no way to counteract a missile that flies at 10 Mach, which is 2.5 to 3 kilometers per second. Existing anti-missile systems and the anti-missile systems deployed by the United States and Europe cannot intercept such missiles.
Which he proved with his initial launch of his new weapon. It was not intercepted, proved the launch. He also spoke about giving warning for civilians to clear out from these military targets that he's picking, such as the NATO base in Poland, which he did for the other attacks as well. He gave warning about attacking the town in Ukraine, so he's already proved that he's been transparent about that. Get the civilians out. This is what's happening if you guys continue to attack the Russia.
It is impossible. So, once again, it is not Russia, but the United States who have destroyed the system of international security. And they are trying to preserve their hegemony and stoking a global conflict. We have always preferred, and we still prefer, to resolve our disagreements using peaceful means, but we are prepared for any scenario. And if anyone has any doubts, they shouldn't. There will always be a response. Around the world, as well as those who still nurture illusions that a strategic defeat can be inflicted against Russia, about events that are happening in the special military operation zone. I'm talking about what happened in the wake of long-range Western weapons being used in the special military operation zone. As a result of the escalation, the United States and their NATO allies said that they give their permission to use long-range weapons against targets inside Russia. Experts know fully well, and the Russian side has underscored this time and again, that using such weapons without the direct involvement of military operators from manufacturing countries is impossible. On November the 19th, 6 ATACMS missiles manufactured in the US were used, and on the 21st, a combined attack using Storm Shadow manufactured in the UK and missiles manufactured in the US were used to attack missile targets in the Bryansk and Kursk regions of the Russian Federation.
Yeah, so there he is clarifying that the ATACMS from the USA and what was it, the Storm weapons from France, Britain, they were all used from Ukraine to Russia, and that crossed the nuclear doctrine, that crossed the thin red line.
Starting from that point, as we have underscored many times, the regional conflict in Ukraine, provoked by the West, acquired a global character. Our anti-missile systems countered those attacks. As a result, the targets and objectives set by the enemy were not achieved. The fire and the ammunition storage in the Bryansk region, as a result of fragments of ATACMS missiles falling, has been contained. No victims. In the Kursk region, one of the command and control centers of our Sever group was attacked. As a result of the attack and the countermeasures, there have been people wounded and killed, and those who were involved in servicing these facilities, those who were members of the command, have not been hit by the attack and are now continuing their operation to remove the enemy from the Kursk region.
So the ATACMS and the missiles from the UK, France, they actually didn't land their target. I believe when I heard the other day, 1 of 8 maybe landed, but essentially has counteractive measures stopped almost all of it.
The use of such weapons cannot change the course of the special military operation. Our military is successfully advancing along the entire line of contact, and all the objectives that we set before ourselves will be met. As a response to the use of US and UK manufactured weapons, the Russian forces have carried out a combined strike on one of the military-industrial facilities in Ukraine. And this included the test of a novel intermediate-range Russian missile system. A ballistic missile with a non-nuclear hypersonic payload was used. The test was carried out successfully. The objectives of the launch have been met. One of the largest and well-known industrial centers that is known since the Soviet times in the Dnieper region, which is known and to be involved in enemy production, was hit. And further, plans are being made in Europe and the Asia Pacific to deploy weapons and missiles. And we believe it is a mistake on the part of the United States.
Hell yeah, that's a mistake. They're just keep pushing for the military-industrial complex, their $15 trillion penny bank every year. Clearly, the missiles didn't land in Russia, and clearly the missiles landed in Ukraine from Russia. So,
To destroy the system that was established by the Missile Treaty in 2019. We see that the United States and their allies are now considering and has successfully tested their capabilities to deploy advanced missile systems in different parts of the world. And their exercises routinely include the use of such weapons. Russia has unilaterally refused to deploy intermediate and small-range missiles until we see similar weapons deployed by the United States in a region of the world. The use of the novel system, which was essentially an operational test, was carried out in response to the decisions made by the United States and their allies. And the further actions will be considered and decided based on what we see from them.
yeah, going forward, fingers crossed that the neocon Biden administration, the deep state, just stops. But that would be a hard fingers crossed. Just nobody sees them stopping until they're all gone. Until the deep state is out of control completely. The puppet regime is put to bed. So I believe the U.S. is going to continue on course because their goal is world war. Their goal is massive weapon making, massive money making. They don't want to let control. They don't want Trump to come in and take over in any good standing. Just like the Liberals in Canada, just the story today from Daniel Smith in Alberta is talking about how Trudeau is trying to ruin Canada. He's absolutely trying to damage Canada as much as he can before his last day in office. So, yeah, scary times, guys. I'll do a part 2 of this, and we'll continue on. Ernie Racine, Canadian journalist. Make sure to share this to your friends so people are actually paying attention. I wonder where Biden or the neocons press releases about what they're doing, because they're not. Biden obviously can't say anything, but nobody said anything. How strange. Over and out.